Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is an exciting night indeed. We've got some great matches here for you tonight within the College COD League. I'm your host, OG Susano, joined by my co-caster, Spider Tiff. Tiff, how you doing?
I am doing absolutely amazing. And I say this every week, but anytime that I get to be on the desk casting Call of Duty, especially with up and coming talent, it is an amazing evening. So, Susano, I am amazing and I'm happy to be here, buddy.
Oh, it's going to be a great time, Tiff. I love the energy you bring to the cast. And we've got a good matchup tonight. We've got Toledo CoD from the University of Toledo versus Trine Esports from Trine University. What are your thoughts right now, Tiff, as we head into this head-to-head?
As we bring up the head-to-head, I'm excited to see these two kind of go up against each other. When you look at the overview, it's pretty similar, right? You know, you got Toledo CoD 14-6 for the season thus far, Trine Esports 13-7, and then you kind of break it down between the Hardpoint, Search and Destroy, Control, and they're all pretty even until you get to the Control wins, losses, where Toledo CoD starts to really stand out. Which, hey, did you guys see? We're not going to see Berlin Control today in the pool, but it's going to the CDL. So I thought that was a really fun little announcement that I saw on Twitter today. But these two, I'm excited to see what happens between them. You've got Tier 2 Trine University, Tier 3 University of Toledo Rockets, and they haven't matched up yet, like actually played each other. So looking at the head-to-head, I'm excited.
I'm excited as well. Both of these teams have a pretty, good record. They're, within, I would say, shooting distance of each other. So I think we're going to be in for a good one tonight. And, talking about these teams, let's go over to our home roster and talk a little bit more about these players because there's definitely an interesting variety.
Yeah, definitely. You got Toledo CoD, we got MZ, Caddick, Caraxium, and Toxin. And if you've got someone named Toxin on your team, it's gonna get pretty crazy. I'm excited to see what these four players can do here tonight, and it's going to be dicey. They got to come out on top. This is a round 3 LCQ matchup, so someone's going home today, and we don't want it to be you. So, but someone does have to lose. Susano, someone does have to lose.
Somebody does indeed, and looking at this roster is definitely going to be an interesting variety for the side of Toledo, but talking about, who's going to lose tonight, we have a possibility that could be Trine. So let's talk about our away roster on the side of Trine Esports because we have quite the variety. We actually have somebody that I know you want to talk a little bit more about, so I'm going to throw it right away to you, Tiff.
Yeah, for sure. So we got Noble, Money Law, Calamity Z, and Marissa. And anytime we have a female on the roster, I get excited because there's not too many female players in the College COD League in general. You don't see any women in the CDL. So seeing that talent kind of rise up, it just goes to show that one day we will see a lady in the CDL. And I don't know when that's going to happen, but I encourage if you're just trying to get into competitive, you want to compete in esports, especially Call of Duty, hit it up. You can do it. I have faith.
Me too. I have faith in Azure Anarchy. I don't know if she's down in the CCL, but she's a good friend of mine that I know one day. But hey, overall, I think this is going to be an exciting one indeed. We got to get things rolling here pretty soon because the players are going to be ready here within a minute. So let's talk about these maps real quick. We're going to start off tonight at Bocage with a Hardpoint. Then we'll be transitioning over to Search and Destroy on Berlin. Then if we get to the last 3 maps, we'll start off with Control, Tuscan, then Hardpoint at Berlin, and then a Bocage Search and Destroy. Tiff, I gotta say, I love this map set. It's so diverse. It's a lot better than some of the map sets I've been recently seeing.
Yeah, I completely agree. Usually when we first started the CCL, earlier in the season, we got a lot of first game Bocage hard points. And then, mid-season in stage 2, it went away from that. So kind of going back to that moment where we're seeing Bocage right at the very beginning. And then if we go to game 5, we're going to go return to where we started and go back to Bocage. That kind of makes me happy because it's a lot of those up close and personal fights. And you just never really know what you're going to get besides a big old bloodbath.
Yeah, well, I love it. Fisticuffs off to the rails, and as I talk about that, Trine's going to be able to get a nice 2-piece down. They will be able to, however, push for these new spawns, but you can already see from the side of Toledo, they don't want to give up anything just yet. The spawns for P2 are an essential for this next transition to the hill, but hey, I love this P1 because it's just, scrappiness all over, but I would like to see some teams get some time off of this.
Yeah, see, and if you're not going to get any time on P1 here in the middle of courtyard on Bocage, no fret. The main goal, in my opinion, during this first one or rotations is to either prevent the other team from scoring a lot of time or just kind of watching and seeing how that team is playing and how you can react.
Just want to highlight right there. Marissa absolutely nailed that play from across the barn. That was a great snap on, but Toxin unfortunately going to get taken down by Calamities. And we already see, you know, we talked about it before, the transition for P2 Toledo still holding on to the spawns, but everybody from the side of Trine Esports will be able to influence the front of barn for now. Everybody on the side of Trine are just setting up a tertiary line between the back line and the front so that there's no interference reached to that safe back spawn.
Yeah, and that's the goal. You want that spawn. Let's look at Toxin all the way in the back behind P2. I mean, and as I say that, Marissa's going to completely cut him down because they are spawning in that bottom left side of the map in which P2 can eventually become a money hill. And as you see that, Trine is looking to tie it up on points as Money Law is doing his best to absolutely live on that point. The moment you say that, Toledo cuts him down again. Caster curse.
Yeah, I hate calling it, and then it just absolutely works against us. But other than that, the spawn's already forward side of Trine. They've learned from that P2. They're going to be holding it right now for a bit. Cracks him with 1 HP in a dream. Still stays up, but Money Law going to be able to come in from the back. Now this gives the player number 1, MZ, a chance to really get in through the deep and do some big damage. You can already see he's got down Calamity, so now the tertiary line has gone. It can essentially be a bird in a cage theory where these players do not realize that they can get themselves out.
Yeah, and you make a great point. That player number 1, MZ, was able to secure the spawns in favor of Toledo, which is really helping them reinforce Grandma's house. They are getting serious time here just on the first set of rotations, and Trine Esports is going to have to look really hard to make that break happen.
Exactly so, and you see Marissa and Noble work together in a duo there. Cracks him once again, trying to get back onto the hill. Gets taken down. Noble Calamities still do a bunch of damage towards the edge. And that's going to be a nice 4 down. Everybody from the side of Toledo will be stuck within that back line. And this is the problem always with this hill on the side of Grandma's. Even if you have spawns, it will work against you if the other team is able to get an aggressive position. And already the rotation has begun in Toledo. Blessed by that number 2 player spawn, Caraxium, but everybody will be able to get on from the side of Trine.
Something that's really interesting, I think, is no one's really fighting it out for the scrap time. And it could be because this is the first set of rotations through the hills that no one really wants to go for the scraps. They want to secure the maximum time on the hill that they can. You can see Toledo CoD is really locking down the barn currently and just holding it nicely. The kill feed is bleeding blue at this point. Now they've got a 20-point lead.
And yeah, you know, just reiterating, you know, a lot of players would like to get that 25 to 30 setup more than a 20 setup towards the edge. So, you know, it's a bit tougher when you think about it in the long scheme because Trine Esports unfortunately do not fight for those spawns and they lose it in the beginning, but then they bring it back in the later end. And then, like you said, then they just end up giving it up. So who's really, you know, getting the majority of the time? And I'd like to say Toledo in this situation because the way we've been seeing Trine have been holding it, you can already see right now they're already starting to get a bit Liza's fair and sending only 1 player to go for this new one.
Yeah, but as you mentioned that, you're like, oh, Trine isn't getting it. It's like the major caster curse here. Trine is on the point, soaking up all the scrap time. Sure, they didn't win the rotation as you see Caraxium take down Marissa as she went to fight for that. Now the break has to come in. You've got the players split absolutely down the middle, trying to 2v2 and come around both sides. Can they basically encompass the Toledo CoD team and win those fights as Calamity finds a nice big one in the back?
Indeed so, and you can already see a nice little 3 setup coming in from the side of Trine. They're going to be going at this all together, but Toxin coming in from the back, giving him the Julius Caesar treatment to Marissa, and there you go. That's a nice 2 for 2 trade. Trine are going to be able to hold on to the hill for now, but MZ spawns back up, able to hold this line of sight for now. Money Law going to get taken down. The hill going back in favor of Toledo, and well, Trine, they're just lagging behind a little bit, but as you said, they switched up the strategy on that last hill and are currently still fighting for old.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, Toledo, they're in tier 3, currently in the stage 2. They went 11 wins and 0 losses, and they've been fighting it out in the LCQs since round 2. Now that they know that this is a make or break moment, they want to do everything that they can to secure this moment for themselves. They don't want to go home now, and they've got that 30-point lead. You've got Toxin going 17 and 12, and they're starting that second set of rotations, and they're showing you why they're here.
Exactly, and unfortunately, right now for the side of Trine, they're going to be getting a bit of some mixed spawn. So Toledo will be able to hold this hill for now, and just garnishing more points to get themselves to a higher distance in terms of the lead. This is a bit of a tough one, Tiff, because on Bocage, usually we see the proximity of score in a much closer interval, and right now we're at almost a 40-point difference, and that is a bit of a tough one. Usually it's between 10 and 20, with a 40-point and all the contest of the proximity of spawns. It could be a rough one as we get towards the latter end of this rotation set.
Yeah, see, the thing is on P1, they're not necessarily either team is really holding the majority of time. We saw River go largely in favor of Toledo, which you mentioned. They had that massive points increase right there. So we're about a 50-point game now going into the second set of rotations. But we're moving on to P2. It's a money hill. No one necessarily is getting on it just yet, but Toledo CoD's looking to get some early uncontested time. But as you check it, Noble is looking to come back on the flank. Will they know he is here? No, he finds Toxin and finds another one.
Exactly, he clears off the influence onto the site and even grabs a third. Amazing. And still holds spawns. Players will now spawn out towards the stables. And now it's up to him if he's going to be able to have that awareness that he had for the flank. He's looking forward, but unfortunately for him, he gets the same treatment. Gets shot to the back. Players are going to be able to recognize that. That's Marissa, who immediately denies him it from the tank and gets a two-piece. Make that a three. Absolutely insane looks, but all these kills are going to be amounting to no time at all, as no players are going to be getting aggressive with it. Calamity will even take out his teammate with a teammate as we head towards his next hill.
Yeah, but as you head to that next hill, I think Toledo at this point, you just need to give him the scrap time. You see Trine Esports has already rotated into Grandma's house, but so has Toxin. So that's going to be a big rotational battle that Trine Esports is going to need to win if they want to make a comeback here.
And I think the biggest problem right here is that they didn't have somebody in the hill right away. So you lose two players that are, playing within that building. And now you have every player from the side of Toledo that are ready to besiege you. Coraxium going to be hanging out towards the top angle, waiting for his teammates in the back line to get rid of them. And Caddick's going to hop in, looks around, and like a chicken without a head, just not able to find the angle right away. Bunninglog will be able to help out. Marissa comes in with some big shots, and there you go. Trying to hold on and do not want to get into that reverse spawn. But actually, Tiff, they reverse it onto Toledo. Toledo have the spawns now.
That's something that's so crazy about Bocage. The spawns just be flipping absolutely all the time. It depends on what line you're getting. There's just so much action going on as Toledo finds a nice two-piece, but then Moneylaw comes back and answers back. Now, 7 seconds left on this hill. Trine Esports soaking up all the scrap time, but look who's coming to contest it. Toledo, they want to try and neutralize Moneylaw off that hill as Trine Esports is the first person to rotate over towards Barn. We saw them not be successful in locking it down, and the goal is to lock it down and minimize the bleeding. It's getting really late in this game. When Toledo only has 70 points left to win, this is not a winnable hill for them, but it's going to be a lot closer.
And for a while there, Toledo were still spawning up on ult, so it was really up to Toxin and its teammate in there to just hold it, and it was a two-man army. They really had it done, and right now Marissa's going to try and come in from the back line and really help out with the spawns, but Moneylaw does get a nice pick into the site. That will stop the time coverage for now. MZ is still going crazy with this AR. They get the job done. They clear out the spawns, and they can even get back on the hill, and they get closer and closer to that 200-point threshold.
Yeah, I really love the positioning that MC is taking. Anytime you're working this upper window area, you can drop down and really make a big difference. You see there, 5 kill streak, just working that area of the map, turned the barn into a massive money hill. They're going to go ahead and soak up the scrap time as well. At this point, Trine Esports is trying to make that rotation over to the river, and we know they lost a lot of time here, and they're starting to pick them off on those rotational fights. Toledo first to win.
Exactly so, and right now Trine were able to break through the front. They did not get too much work from the back line because you did have, Toxin and Coraxium just doing some big jobs back there. But, Caddick is having a bit of a slower game, 19-28, but has been picking it up in terms of the hill. 1 minute and 21 seconds. That's pretty good indeed, but overall, with the Bocage being such a slaying-heavy map, you really need to step up the slaying power. But overall, Toledo still hold forward, but you have MZ right here doing some great work, holding back this mid lane, not going to let these players get in. It even reads the movement from Noble.
See, the issue is once MZ gets on top of them, he's just frying out with the automaton and punching players out. Like, can you even stop MZ at this point? 30-18 on a 4 streak, looking to put this one to bed for Toledo CoD. They have just scored almost every single point imaginable, and now this is the win condition right here. And check out who's on the hill already. That is going to be Trine Esports, but the break is going to come in from Toledo.
Exactly, and Toledo are going to be able to get a nice little two-piece. They clear out the top angle and the bottom, so both a horizontal and a vertical, all gone. So now you can grab onto the hill. Caddick's going to get a nice two-piece. He definitely hurt his tip, working against us, but there you go. You have players working the tertiary, and Toledo bring it to a dominating win, 250 to 145, 105-point difference.
That's pretty massive, to be fair. I kind of want to look at the stats right here, but we're going to get a best play of the map. That's going to be Caddick going crazy with the MP40 as he drops down to eliminate Money Law off the hill. But here's the deal. Let's check it out. We got Trine Esports, Money Law 30-29, Calamity 36-27. So a lot of these players on Trine Esports fragged out. So Bocage is one of those hills that you can totally see someone grab a 50 bomb, a 40 bomb, no issues. But when you look at Toledo, who is their biggest fragger? You got MZ who went 32 and 18, almost double positive. That's pretty massive. But the number of kills is pretty similar on both teams. What you have to look at is where those kills were and did they provide time on the hills.
Yeah, and talking about times on the hill, you got to give a big shout out to Caddick. You know, he was not having the best slaying game towards the end, but he definitely brought it back with 2 minutes on the hill. That's amazing right there, indeed. But, you know, you look over to the side of Trine Esports, they still had a favorable, you know, showing for a bit of the time. It just got towards the end where they just were not able to chain the hills. You had Money Law, who's doing pretty good, 30 and 29. You had Calamity doing amazingly well with the slays. Marissa was doing a lot of impact plays. We saw her in, you know, positions of power to definitely do jobs with the AR, but it just wasn't a lot of cemented gameplay from the side of Trine. There really wasn't a solidified plan of action that we saw. It was a lot of more just dealing with the punches and rolling with it as they went. And, you know, unfortunately for them, Toledo were just much more prepared.
Yeah, they definitely were. And I mean, when you look at the things that they had come up against, Toledo currently, they went 11 wins, 0 losses in stage 2. Sure, they're in tier 3. And sure, Trine University is tier 2 and they went 7 wins, 4 losses in stage 2. But I mean, coming off the momentum of winning every single match in stage 2, moving into LCQs, and you've got to be fighting because you don't want to go home yet. You want to seed yourself in the playoffs. And just because, you know, you're battling it out here in group and you've won your second matchup, you're trying to win your third matchup and get that coveted spot, the road isn't over, Susano. It's going to be an uphill battle from here on out because they're going to be matching up with teams like Arizona State, the Longhorns. Like, it is going to be a wild ride into the playoffs.
Yeah, playoffs is definitely going to be the real crucible of the college COD where all of these players are going to have to come through and see if their talents are going to outshine or will they be wheat to the chaff and just get blown in the wind. But overall, from the side of Toledo, yeah, they were at 11-0 in a tier 3, but really this speaks volumes to them. I think in a map like Bocage, especially where, you know, it's a lot of mixiness. There's a lot of, you know, areas of error. I'd like to also highlight real quick, you know, at the beginning of this season, we didn't think that Bocage was an AR map, but clearly MZ proved everybody wrong in that aspect. ARs can definitely be within the conversation of Bocage, and now as we head towards Berlin, that AR gameplay is not only going to be, you know, shown here, it is going to be exemplified.
Exemplified 100%. My favorite thing about the AR, specifically the Automaton, and if you want to get crazy and use the Volk, I love that, but that's for more mid-range, up-close AR fighting. The Automaton here is going to be really prevalent. You're going to watch those mid-map lines and look for information and try to get those longer range picks. But here we go, jumping into Search and Destroy. We are on Berlin. Toledo is the first on the offensive, and Caraxium has taken that bomb and pushed their way over to A. Love the setup from Trine Esports that they've got. They've got about one person watching the mid-map. You see the call come in. Everyone is full rotating over to A from Trine, but the bomb hasn't necessarily entered the building just yet, Susano.
No, indeed. It's been a bit of a tease with the side of the doors, but you're going to see kind of get taken down by Calamity. Money Law coming in big time as well, and it's looking like a bit of a, you know, just a divided effort from the side of Toledo, and I understand why now. There was a bit of a lag out, so, you know, they're going to keep playing it until we get league ops in here to figure out what's going on. But, you know, MZ's going to be your last man of this situation, and his AR is definitely a bit of a variable to, you know, account for.
Definitely a variable to account for. Sometimes things happen like that, but sometimes you just gotta roll with the punches and turn it into a nice little TDM match. MZ gonna find a kill on Calamity, working this destroyed hall area. We get the POV from Moneylaw with that MP40. You know, if you're gonna work the mid-map areas, that's a good place to be, but MZ gonna pistol you down anyways. Now we're coming down to a little 1v1. Bomb is still down on A. We see MZ pushing in, gonna grab bomb and start to throw it down. But Marissa, are you going to check what is happening right now? Bomb is going to go down, Susano.
The bomb is down now, and you can definitely play it off the post plant, but MZ making a lot of noise. Marissa definitely heard that, and she even turns around in time and gets the kill. Will get the defuse now. Plenty of time. You would have to honestly disconnect your controller with 30 seconds left and not get that defuse. But that was pretty good. Unfortunately, though, it was, self-error right there from MZ. He busts through that door, does not realize that the player is above him. And Marissa, immediately hearing that sound cue, gets the reverse on him.
Hey, very well done. I mean, sometimes I really do like to see how the automaton absolutely fries because, to be fair, it's one of my favorite guns in the game, whether that's playing multiplayer or jumping into Warzone. The automaton always slays out. So watching Marissa use it to the well-being is absolutely beautiful. Now we're going to see what Trine Esports can do on the offensive. Can they answer back and win an offensive round? Because that can make all the difference.
Indeed so, and we're going to see another player drop, and it looks as though we will lose the lobby. So we're going to definitely have to wait for League Ops to hop in here for a second. But just talking about the matchup here for a little bit, longer, we definitely saw right off the bat there, Tiff, just how much, more Trine were, a lot more free range and Liza's Fair with their setups. They're definitely a lot more, setting up for positions where they could get a trade or two instead of, rudimentary just setting up, firm spots on the map.
Yeah, I think if you're looking at Trine Esports in particular for their defensive setups, they had two that were fully on A. Then they had the third player kind of watching that mid-map area, and they sent one to B. As you can see, as soon as they called out that it was an A push, even though Bomb wasn't on site, I believe they cited out at least 2 or 3 players moving towards A. They're like, hey guys, it's going to be that A push, and you can see just how easily the rest of the players are able to rotate down to A. Now, had the other team not lost a player, I'd be really curious to see how that would play out and if they're willing to change. Typically, when we are on Berlin Search and Destroy, we will find out that there's a lot of A pushes and not necessarily going B straight away.
Yeah, and B's always going to be that comfortable spot. 9 times out of 10, we're going to see a play go down towards B. A lot of players, they come in through here and they show us like, hey, we can switch it up. We can definitely go A. It's just unfortunately that for them, usually there's a island player hanging out back towards that hill. It's a bit of a harder one because then, like you saw Marissa right there, she could have easily, peek over and just take that kill right away because he was out in the open. Really, like there was no cover at all for him. I believe even the player who was trying to plant the bomb lost his life in that instance as well.
Yeah, and then sometimes I'm always like, do they not fire because they want to wait a little bit longer, not necessarily give away their position? But regardless, we are resetting that lobby. Just a quick little update. When we come back from the lobby reset, essentially we are going to go 1-0 in favor of Trine. And when that happens, basically we're going to see how Toledo is going to answer back. Because if you guys just joined us, we had map 1 was Bocage Hardpoint, where Toledo took a victory 250 to 145 against Trine.
Yeah, it was a very dominant one indeed from Toledo. They, were a little bit slower at the beginning, but then once they figured out Trine's problems and the lack of setups there was, they definitely took advantage of that. Trine right now are currently within the Search and Destroy. They're up 1-0. That was a pretty good one indeed. Using those sound cues to your advantage is always going to be a good one for an easy kill.
Well, now I'm going to be a devil's advocate because you just mentioned right there, Trine Esports essentially lack of setups. So going into Search and Destroy, what do you think Trine was going to need to do to kind of turn the tides and maybe bring this to a 1-1 map count?
Well, to one-up you even bigger here, Tiff, you got to think about the timings and the biggest thing above all, the pace of the game. The pace of the game is always going to be a big problem. And I always iterate this fact whenever we talk about that transition from Hardpoint over to Search and Destroy, is that at the end of the day, yes, they're going to be breakneck speeds during Hardpoint, especially on Bocage, on Bocage. And setups, it feels more or less like if you're able to set up, it's great. If not, then you feel like you're sliding on sandpaper, constantly going downhill. Not a very fun time indeed, and that's when setups aren't really part of it. It's more or less just throw bodies at the hill, try to get something going, but in search and destroy, it's much more slower, much more methodical. You can actually breathe. Although, if you're an anxious person like me and playing search and destroy, you definitely think somebody's going to be behind you all the time. So that's a bit of a hard one. But, overall, it is a lot easier to set up on search and destroy. So that's why Trine, looked a lot better in that sense, because, hey, they're not worried about hill moving from hill to hill to hill. It was just, hey, we have the lay of the map. We have the lay of everything. Let's just play our game. And Toledo clearly did not play theirs.
Well, to be fair, you're completely correct. You were like, hey, they actually had a setup, since we only got to witness really one round where we saw Trine on the defensive and they took that victory. They did set up really well. We chatted about that a little bit. But then if you're going to go back and you get a little bit of time and you're Toledo and you want to regain, you've already seen what Trine can do on the defensive. So now do you change your game plan? It's still a little early on and we got to kind of find each other out a little bit. But I don't think either team needs to change anything that they were doing, therefore, right now. They just need to kind of read each other's teams.
No, and I think there is like some information given within that. I think, try and have realized that, hey, Toledo can be aggressive. They can be. So we need to account for that, and are definitely going to have opportunistic, ARs that are going to be watching from big spots, like how we saw MZ try to shoot down Marissa right off the bat in that first round. So there's definitely going to be a lot more, chows taken that may be a little bit unnecessary that Trine might have noticed.
Well, let's see exactly what they're going to do. Trine Esports on the offensive right now. Noble's going to cut down Caddick, putting it in a nice 3v4. Moneylaw has the bomb, and it is going down on A. Now, let's see what the defensive setup's going to look like. It is now... Oh my God, MZ!
That was an absolute just beast play coming in from MZ. Absolute two-piece, the snap-on point. Noble's going to be hanging out here. Unfortunately, exposes himself now to the 1v1. Craxium was able to get the first shots, even gets the headshot. And there you go. Now we're at a 1-1. Toledo respond back in kind. You have to give that round in honor of MZ, though. That was just beautiful.
Look, I really wasn't expecting to see what happened there. That left Noble in a very, very horrible predicament to try and take down that 1v2. And we're going to see here from Craxium's POV, that kill on Noble, just super clean right there. It started out so well for Trine. As soon as they got the bomb down, they had 3. But the fact that Toledo was so aggressive in that nature of just pushing straight up onto bomb before they could actually get their setup finalized. And MZ found that nice 2-piece right there. It was kind of nasty. Curious to see if Toledo's going to go make that A push, and you see they are. You've got MZ watching for some sight lines. So you're right. Here it is. He can spot Marissa a little bit, but, maybe that's the caster that we can see fully, but they can't.
Yeah, always a problem with the overlays, but, right here, immediately we see Marissa try to hold down this A site. Players are going to be able to get the bomb down, so now Toledo can play the post plant with a 4-man stack. Beautifully done. Craxium's going to be able to find Noble and even takes him out towards the back alley. You do not want to find this man in the dark corners, and Marissa's still going to be trying to find a kill within the site. Nobody's going to be able to give it up just yet.
It's like, how do you retake this? You've got Toledo with a nice defensive setup as Craxium finds Moneylaw. You've got Toxin in the back as well as MZ just watching all the lines, and Toledo is just absolutely melting through Trine Esports right now. There's just nothing you can do. That defensive setup was flawless.
And that's like the beauty of A, is that post plant. If you have that 4-stack, oh, Tiff, you can do whatever you want with your post-plant strategy. Just as long as you're not being reckless, you can definitely win that. B, I would say, is a little bit harder because of the fact that we've done so many B plays within this season that you kind of already know where players are going to be set up. You have one in the back, one playing within the bomb, and then maybe one on the back oil can. So it's a lot easier to, find those players on. But especially A, where it's much more closer proximity, like we saw Noble with that kill in the corner, it was beautiful.
Yeah, let's really keep an eye on Craxium. He's currently got a 5 streak right now as we see Trine Esports making that same A push currently. But I love where they've positioned Calamity to kind of look for a pick maybe mid-map as they watch that rotation. He's just kind of hovering, just looking for some information. Moneylaw going to find a nice first blood on Craxium. Bomb has not gone down yet, but I bet they were just playing for a pick.
Yeah, it's just playing for information here on the attack. Unfortunately, they were not, fast like Toledo, but still they are going to try and do well with that man advantage now in their power. Memzi's going to get some shots, playing a little bit more conservatively, does not want to take that one yet. Will give the information to Caddick, though, who is going to react on that info, looks up and even shoots at the player, but Calamity's going to have the high ground, work to OB1, even gets the bomb plant from Noble.
I like this play. Now that the bomb is planted, they can go into their defensive setup. You know, you got Toledo that knows where Calamity is, but Calamity is just answering back to anyone that challenges and finds a nice kill on MZ. They were able to end Caraxium's streak. Now you've got Toxin, last man standing for Toledo, going in, and Trine Esports successfully takes a beautiful offensive round. Because you know what they did differently is they waited for 2 picks. Get this POV from Noble, just waiting it out, perfectly played. They waited for the 2 picks as opposed to going ahead and just full on planting and then working for the defensive setup. They were just overtaken so quickly by Toledo. They changed that, and I love the change they made.
Yeah, it's a great adjustment, honestly, because, yeah, Trine were just playing a lot slower, but it was definitely much more methodical. And I agree with you in the sense that, hey, they felt a sense of security, so they're going to go for it. But as I say that, Toledo's actually going to keep up with the same strategy, get aggressive and push in. But you can already see Trine Esports have, you know, just reviewed that last play amongst the team and have gotten it down. Unfortunately for Caraxium, he will lose his life to Noble, and Calamity's going to get aggressive here, but a little bit too much to chew.
Yeah, they've got bombed down, but I feel like the call didn't come in quick enough. As Trine Esports, you've got 2 players that are still making their rotation over. I love that Money Law is going to work mid-map and really check all of the angles of that building, because you've got the Toledo CoD players that are just now grabbing bomb, and that's going to be in the form of Caddick. Honestly, they've got 49 seconds. I would take the long rotation back and go B. You're going to have to rotate the longest way.
Indeed so, but I think they're actually going to go for Marissa, who's hanging out towards the back line, and they even find her. So now you lose that back protection. Noble, once again, in this position where he's going to have to do a 1v2 here. But you can hear the bomb being planted right next to him, so he will immediately just, you know, not react on this info, apparently. So he's just going to have to wait and see if one of these players are going to get overzealous, and maybe he could go for a ninja defuse here, because honestly, nobody's going to check him.
This is perfect.
No
if
way.
he gets the ninja diffuse, this is going to be insane. He hears the audio coming in, grabs one. That's going to be a nice kill on Caddick, but now his position is spot out. Can he flip it around and find the other 2 people on Toledo CoD in time? He has 19 seconds remaining, going to get tagged up, and unfortunately will fall. That was a very nice try. To be fair, very nice try.
Oh, yeah, that was very admirable. Not only did he drop the bomb and go for that kill, he was even trying to outmaneuver that other player within the stairwell. So, you know, you unfortunately lose to the player who's hanging out towards the top third, but still a very admirable push indeed.
Yeah, I feel like Noble is the last man standing for Trine Esports. He keeps getting stuck in those 1v2 or 1v3 situations, and he'll usually find a pick or 2, but not able to fully get all of them. But I'd be excited to see if he can turn that around and really finesse that. I feel like he would have had a better chance, but time was just not in their favor. But Trine Esports on the offensive, going A. Noble going to find a nice first blood on Caddick.
Yeah, usually Toxins go with that person who unfortunately throws their life at the front of the rounds, but you know, Caddick going to be shifting in for that role, but still a 3v4. We've seen Toledo in these situations. They're going to be going for the bomb plant from the side of Trine. Every player from the side of Toledo have now just set themselves up a little bit far away, and you see that one player moving around from the back. That's going to be MZ, who's going to see if he can find these players within their setup.
Yeah, and I love the positioning. We got Calamity taking that same position. He just really works that building very well. So I'm curious to see how that's going to work and how Toledo is going to be able to retake this. Shots are coming out. MZ going to find Marissa in the back.
Yeah, and you do see right there, MZ did get a very nice kill from Marissa, but there's only 14 seconds left here. Noble's not even going to be able to get back in time right away, but well, Toxin will get the trade, but it's still just not enough time for the defusal. So Toxin, unfortunately, will lose the round for the team. But hey, you know, you got to give a big shout out to Trine there. They played a lot more slower and much more spread it out. So it made a bigger task for Toledo to try and go for them.
Yeah, let's look at this nice final kill by Money Law. Just going to find Toxin completely off guard. Like, hello, pizza's here. No, it's just death. But since we had that, like, we had to restart the lobby, this brings it to 3-3 currently in Search and Destroy. So they are completely tied up. We got Noble 7-4 for Trine Esports. This could go in the favor of Trine, and they could tie it up 1-1 after all of this.
Indeed. So, and at a 3-3 standpoint, from what we've seen so far, Trine are definitely a lot more, adjusting in their gameplay compared to Toledo right now. But to say that, we're going to see great movement from Caraxium, forces the player out of the pillar, gets the kill into Noble. Now we see a difference of approach. Toledo are actually the ones with the first blood, so this is going to be a good chance for them to grab that bomb down. And, Tiff, something to recognize here, we have yet to see a B play in this whole entirety of this S&D.
It's like you just read my mind. I was completely thinking that as well, but I think it's too late to go ahead and make that switch up. Moneylaw finds a nice kill on Toxin, which is going to tie it up in this 3v3 situation. 30 seconds left on the bomb, which is down at A. Waiting to see how Trine Esports is going to approach the site. We see player number 3, that's going to be Moneylaw, making a rotation and finding a nice kill on Caraxium. Oh, that's insane.
Yeah, very tough one indeed, but Calamity's going to get insane with it. Caddick gets away. He just needs to play his life here, but unfortunately, he does not do it in time. So Trine Esports get themselves the round advantage now at a 4-3. Interesting play indeed.
Basically, all you need to do in Search and Destroy is string a couple rounds together. We saw Toledo come in really strong after the reset as Moneylaw finds a nice kill right here on Caddick. Oh man, I love the way that MP40 hits in up close personal places, but let's chat about that. If you can string a couple rounds together, that's all they wrote. Now that Trine Esports is up 4-3 against Toledo, can Toledo answer back and string a couple together? Because once Trine Esports start getting really, really confident here, I think it's all over for Toledo.
I think so too. And CoD is a very big momentum game, so the confidence is definitely a big factor. Right now, as we watch these players from the side of Trine, though, they're going to be waiting again, Tiff. They're going to be waiting for a pick, and looks like we're going to be seeing our first play towards B, but Marissa's going to be playing a little bit towards the back. And once again, you need that player to play the caboose to just make sure that you're not getting flanked. And Caraxium and MZ, well, they now know the info. They see Marissa towards the back line. MZ's not going to be able to get the kill. And, well, Caraxium gets a little too overzealous. They lose the life, and they even get the tag from MZ and having a bit of some trouble with the window.
Yeah, they were able to get the bomb down, but now my question is, how is the retake going to go? They did, with the aggression that Toledo has, they were able to push in incredibly quick. You see, they got that kill on Moneylaw, and the positioning from Trine is really tough. They found another kill on Marissa, so this overtake is really tough when you're in a 2v3 situation.
It really is, and Noble's going to get himself taken down as well now, but Calamity's going to try and pull up the snipe, but MZ does the homework. He comes in for the back line, and this is what I told you, Tiff. When you have a player playing towards the back line on B, you know there's somebody there, so it's great that they sent someone to actually clear it up, so now we're at a back to a true neutral of 4-4.
Yeah, let's see. Look at that, just coming from behind, and there's just nothing you can do when you get surprised like that. Here's the deal. The B push didn't work, but since everyone was going A, usually the teams on the defense are only sending maybe one player over to B just to kind of watch it over. Toledo, being really aggressive, was able to kind of swarm in and read it 100%. I'd be curious to see how Toledo is going to answer back, and as you can see, the bomb is not going towards A. It is actually moving towards B, but Trine Esports is split 2-2.
They are split 2-2, but it's a 4-2 right now. Everybody from the side of A will be able to read that and rotate, but everybody from the side of Toledo have yet to really get aggressive here. I think they're taking a note out of Trine's book and try to get a pick, but the pick will actually go towards Marissa. MZ picks off Noble, and now we're at a 3-3.
Yeah, but here's the issue. The bomb went down. When Marissa got the bomb pick, she knocked the bomb down. So now they have that knowledge and they need to swoop in. But you got Caddick, who's going to move in and pick it up and still go for the B plant.
Yes, and they even get that port player. So Calamity's going to be here at the top position. Toxin notices him, and he's just got a sniper in a dream. This could be either a mixtape, or this is going to be a real quick 3v1. But overall, you had MZ hanging out towards that top third, who immediately gave that info. So now there's 33 seconds left, and a lot of players playing towards that back line, but it's no problem with the snipe from Calamity.
I mean, hey, if you're going to snipe like that, you want this. You want this, Calamity. You got a 1v2 situation, and this is the first time it's not Noble. Shots are coming out. You have 2 HP and a dream, Calamity. You snipe him. You do that to Caddick. I don't care if you fall right there and Toledo wins that round. You just won the hearts of many with your sniping skills.
that was beautiful too. I'm not gonna lie. The guy came out here and said, Hey, yo, Pamaz, look at this clip real quick. Went for that quick skill towards the back line, gets the player on the train heady, and then even takes the contest chow and just knocks him out. I think if he immediately goes for the rescope as he turns around, he gets that one as well.
I mean, 100%. 100%. That was insane. And I don't care what anyone says. You know, Calamity is straight vibing out right now. But now they're on the offensive. They're down one. It's 4-5 right now in favor of Toledo. This is match point. Toledo just needs to win one defensive round to put this to bed, and they will go up 2-0 in the series. So let's see how we're going to do.
Ooh, but Calamity went for some preemptive shots to try and find some players. While it is a forward-thinking play, and we do applaud that, that did give away the information that, hey, this is an A play. And you're going to see immediately Caraxium, who's on the flank, the longest flank of all, to try and get these players. So this is probably going to play out in his benefit because they keep on checking that same corner where the shots have already been shot. And now you're not going to be able to get any info. So Caraxium's actually going to get found out. Noble's going to watch the back. And, well, the play doesn't play out effectively, but it still is wasting time.
Wasting time indeed, but MZ right here with a nice 5 streak, trying to put this series to bed, wants to win the Search and Destroy, going up 2-0. Caraxium gonna take down Noble. This puts Calamity and Moneylaw the last alive for Trine Esports.
Yeah, there you go. Calamity now being the last man. Only 14 seconds left, and the bomb is down. This is not enough time to get the bomb down at all. So you're going to see Toledo CoD, unfortunately, take that one for them in what looked like a hopeful situation for Trine. Toledo bring it back 6-4.
Honestly, that's so close. That is such a close score. I feel like Trine Esports really did a lot of work there as we see the Caraxium kill. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Unfortunately, it's just not going to be enough. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the stats. And the stats say MZ for MVP.
Yeah, MZ really came out big. 10-4 with 7 non-traded kills. The man was going crazy with 3 first bloods. But then you also have to give a big shout out to Caraxium. He had a lot of long routes, and the route man, he definitely got paid today. With 4 first bloods and 4 first deaths, it was his job to be that entry fragger, and boy did he play them out well. Unfortunately for the side of Trine Esports, they, were just... It was good setups. They really were. It just felt like there was just little mistakes that led to this result. And, 6-4, like you said, Tiff, that's not a big scoreline of a differential. It definitely was very close.
It was close, and in the end, Toledo was able to just string more rounds together and carry that momentum in the form of MZ and Caraxium. You look at the damage done from the players. MZ, Caraxium, and Kadak all over 1,000 damage. So it was really spread out evenly through the team. It's as if they were just completely fragging out, but I've got to give it to Calamity. Calamity frying out with the sniper just kind of made my day.
Yeah, that is definitely our golden kill award right there. Definitely going to be for Calamity. That 2-piece was beautiful, but unfortunately though, for them, Toledo CoD are now leading up 2-0 in the series. We get ready for this Tuscan control because we've seen a lot here, Tiff. We've seen a lot of tenacity. We've seen some strength and setups, and we've seen a lot of slaying. And from either side, I still feel like this could go any way. I really do.
I mean, if you say it can go any way, Trine Esports right now is going to have to begin their reverse sweep if they want to make it to the playoffs. Because at this point, Toledo is basically writing and they're just like, we've done it. We have made it to playoffs. Granted, I mean, I've seen gnarly upsets happen. At this point, it would be an upset if Trine Esports I can't even say it, reverse swept Toledo. So apparently if I can't even say it, it's just not going to happen.
And the funny thing about this is that even if they do win this Tuscan, they're essentially getting the series, but in the same fashion that they came through within a recency, because they'll be going to Berlin and then a Bocage. So they, full circle it. But overall, I think it's going to be an interesting one indeed. Let us know what you guys think in the chat and on Twitter. We're going to take a short break as we get this third map set up. Don't go anywhere because Toledo CoD and Trine Esports will be ready for that map 3. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is College COD night, and you've got me, your host Susano, and the lovely Spider Tiff here with you, bringing you the action. Tiff, how you doing tonight? How's it been? How do you feel about the series? Let's catch up for a sec,
Yeah, let's catch up, especially for those in chat that may have just joined us. I know we have a lot of Toledo fans in chat, so stand up, guys, because so far, Toledo is up 2-0 in this series. They took a nice victory in that Bocage Hardpoint on map 1, which was 250 to 145, so it's a good day if you're a Toledo fan, and currently I am jumping on the bandwagon because it's looking really great for them.
It really is indeed, and they've had some great performances so far. The Hardpoint being their most dominant, which was 250 to 145 on Bocage. Are you kidding me? Come on, that's amazing. And then Berlin, it did get a little dicey. I will admit, it got a little dicey, 6-4, but they still win that one, and it was just a 2-round difference. So if we're following the interval of statistics, this might be the most competitive match yet, or who knows? We'll see.
I don't know. You're just out here breaking in statistics, and I know that was one of my least favorite college classes, so I'm going to try to not break in statistics, at least not here, not now. All we know is Toledo is on match point. This is LCQ week 2, guys, so this is a round 3 last chance qualifier match, which means whichever team loses this, their season is going to be over. And right now, Toledo is looking like they're about to go to the playoffs, so Trine Esports is really going to have to answer back when we move on to this Tuscan Control, which, if you guys know anything about Control for the maps that we've been playing, it is a very defensive-sided game. And basically, if you can net together some offensive rounds, you're going to walk home a winner of Control. So Trine Esports needs to go ahead and connect that first offensive victory.
Yeah, and really what I've been seeing within this map on Tuscan is that back line. The back line is possibly the most important factor for any offense to try and target. Look, we can get some graphics out once we get to playoffs time. We'll call it Susano's coaching corner, okay? The coaching corner right now is this. You need to go for that B, get aggressive, take them out, send 2 players or 1 player towards that back line, decimate it, let the B get caught, flip on over to A, easy peasy, money shmoney, the dub acquired. It's not that hard, ladies and gentlemen. I've tried this. It's been tried and tested even in the CDL, okay? I've got
you
people,
hear that?
trust me.
You hear that, Trine Esports? It's been tried and tested, and now you need to take a note from Coach Susano's playbook. And no one is going to go B. It's that full push towards A. But hey, if you can get a full team wipe on A and just start getting your time ticking away, get that first tick of progress. But unfortunately, Kadak is saying, hey, nah, I'm going to wreak some havoc over here. No A for you.
Yeah, I'm retiring as coach now, but I mean, it's all good, the way the A is set up is that you can grab it most definitely in a much easier fashion. It's just, transitioning from A to B is a lot harder if you're not going to focus that back line. Once you get B towards that A, it's definitely a bigger chance to focus the back line. But right now, as we see it, as it goes down, the besiegement from Toledo come in, they stop them on the second tick, and now they can just go crazy in the spawns as they send Toxin for them.
Well, to be fair, Toledo, as we have noticed, is an extremely aggressive team. One thing that I don't want to see out of them as Calamity finds a nice 2-piece is that overextension. Because if you're going to keep going for that A push, which Trine Esports is doing, they've got 2 ticks of progress. They're really going to have to get in there in the form of Toledo nuking it down because A is about to be captured. And then you've got Toxin coming in. But basically, the lives are standstill. 19 to 21. This is pretty even.
Yeah, it's within a good range, within a 3-life differential, but MZ, very nicely done, gets the kill onto Marissa. She's going to have to be sent back to the spawns. And, once again, I talk about that back line. They sent Moneylaw to go and try and clear it out, but he just did not find Toxin there. So Marissa's going to be able to respond back in kind, gets taking out Kadak, and Toxin's the last player. And like I said, once you have that player towards the back line, he can rotate in and do some damage onto the hill, and that's exactly what he's going to be doing.
Look, I mean, the fact that Trine Esports doesn't have their first tick on B yet after killing off the majority of Toledo makes me a little uncomfortable as Noble now jumped ship and is working on that first tick of progress. I love that you mentioned the player that is working through that back line. It seems as if Trine Esports is always understanding that you constantly see a player in the middle of church looking to work and nuke out any players. And as you've got Calamity working and finding a nice piece on Toxin in the back. And right now he's holding that back line, which is forcing Toledo to spawn up above back of tank.
Indeed, and this is the first time we're going to see Toledo now under the deficit of lives, even though it may be one, but Craxton going to be able to get the nicest COD timing that I've possibly seen in a while. That was beautiful, but, you know, Calamity going to be able to hold the back line like we said. You know, he needs to just do the damage, and you see right there, his presence not only is a problem, but it forces the spawns out towards the green fields. So now these players can just hop on, but they still have that tertiary player, number 5, MZ.
Yeah, Calamity just got stunned, but he's still being an absolute nuisance until Toxin decides to cut him down. Lives are tied up. 1 tick of progress at B with 35 seconds remaining. So basically, Toledo just needs to play TDM and keep Trine Esports off of B if they want to survive this.
Indeed, and well, you're going to see Trine Esports be the first team to not have respawns, and now they're going to be put at 3 to 5. 24 seconds left, but the fact that they even got 1 tick, Tiff, on this B is massive towards that round 5.
Yeah, but they had everything set up for them to be able to take B with Calamity living his best life in their backline, and then they all just fell apart after that. Calamity was alive for so long protecting their backside, which is incredibly hard to do. Here we'll see Caraxium find that last kill on Marissa, who was last alive for Trine Esports. If they can already get to that point, once they read that out, Toledo is like, hey, you know, we've got a player in our backline. They're completely moving positions. You saw him like finessing that area. They lost a lot of time in the form of Trine Esports not getting enough time on B. I feel like they could have capped it.
I feel like so too, but that's why I emphasize it, Tiff, that the capture for B is always going to be a much easier task if you do it right from the start instead of allowing them to be able to regain and do their job and spawn back up on the side of the defense. And, you know, yeah, Toledo's going to be going for this A, and, you know, we think about it in like this. They're really just contesting for that round 5 overall.
100%, but Toledo's on a really aggressive team. So, of course, that A push makes perfect sense for them as Toxin finds a nice 2-piece.
Oh, no.
They're going to completely clear out A, but that nade is going to prevent them from finishing capping off A with that uncontested time, allowing Trine Esports to get their reinforcements back in. 2 are going through church and looking, but look at there, they're not aggressive. They've already got 2 ticks, about to get 3. And why is Trine Esports not pushing in until just now?
Because they realized the frequency of players was a bit lacking, because they realized that, hey, MZ's in the back, but they just do not realize it. Instead, they feel it through the game and do not acknowledge it consciously. So the subconsciously, you know, they're realizing, hey, the frequency of players is a little bit slower, but right now, Caraxium's still going to be able to get aggressive. And like you said, the Toledo team is definitely that aggressive team. They're going to be able to capture A now, and MZ, well, his back play is still going strong.
Still going strong indeed, but now that they've got A at a little less than 2 minutes on the clock to go ahead and get that B, Toledo is trying to make that push all the way through the backline as the kill feed is bleeding blue, and this is basically forcing Trine Esports to use that back tank as cover. We do see players number 3 and 4, that's going to be Moneylaw and Marissa, rotating down to B. Toxin not able to move through command center onto the site because he's waiting for reinforcements. As soon as the call comes in that Toledo has cleared out the backline, I think they'll make that move.
Oh, the trigger discipline from Calamity.
What?
Great to see right there. Not only did he get 1 player, but he does notice, hey, there's no effectiveness coming in from this side of Toledo, so we can just slow it down, get our regaining and bearings all in the back line. But as I say that, Noble's going to be able to clear it out. Moneylaw clears it up indeed, and you only have 1 player left towards that back line, and that's going to be MZ.
Yeah, Moneylaw was doing a really good job of watching that mid-map, but now you got 2 Toledo players down on the B site, but you're not going to be able to push just in because you're going to lose MZ, and that's going to be a fantastic kill from Marissa, who was doing a really great job of holding that back line and really preventing any person from getting near B, but lives are tied up, 45 seconds on the clock. This could just result a pure TDM at this point.
Indeed so, and that 40 seconds, like you said, is a lot of time, but Trine are going to be able to get a nice 3 down onto the side of Toledo. 10-7 in terms of the lives, 30 seconds overall, and all these players from the side of Trine are putting themselves positionally in a great area. So this is a perfect setup from Trine, because each one of them is going to be able to get a... oh, he actually sees him on the bottom, but he does go for him, so that does break the setup for a bit.
Yeah, Kadok found a nice kill, but can he keep it going? They only have about 14 seconds left. Make that 11. Someone needs to touch the B side. This is all they wrote for Trine Esports. You need to take off this point. Clock is stopped at 8.4. Susano, this is going to be atrocious.
Yeah, but Craxine was able to clean out the back line, and unfortunately for Calamity, he's not going to be able to get too much shots in because Toxin hops in. So Toxin just needs to stay up here, wait for his teammates, but he gets overzealous, and well, that's only 3 ticks now for the side of Toledo. So like I was saying before, to the fact that, you know, Trine got a tick on, that's going to be giving them a big vantage talking point for that round 5.
To be fair, he should not have ego-chowed Marissa in that final moment.
Agreed.
If the clock is stopped at 0.1 seconds and you are trying to live your best life on that B side and you have column as cover, do not ego-chow, especially after you just got tagged up. But to be fair, honestly, he probably thought he had it. I would have done the same thing. I'm a big fan of ego-chows and failing in my ego-chows. But let's see what Trine Esports can do. They're back on the offensive.
Live and die by the ego chow, my friend. But you're going to see right there a nice little 2-piece there from the either sides. A bit of a breakdown for the side of Toledo. The Force getting stopped in their place. Calamity and Co. Well, they're stuck in this B5, and nicely done. Money Long Calamity working hand in hand to try to get themselves to this B. This is what I told you, Dip. You work the B, you get it done. But MZ just clears out that A. No ticks given. Calamity's just going to play the creddy angles and get these free kills.
To be fair, if you are going to push B right off the bat, that's one of the best things you can possibly do, because then when you get nuked out at B, you almost have a free A push because the entire defensive team is still down at B and they're going to have to rotate out. Meanwhile, you've got Toxin and you've got Kadok holding A hostage, and they're saying, hey, you can't come over here. We know you've got some ticks of time, but it's just not going to happen today.
Indeed so, and Kadok's really going to be that player to try and hold this huge force back, but he's going to get aggressive and throw his life away, unfortunately. MZ's going to have to pick up the pace, but Marissa, she gets the kill onto Toxin. MZ gets taken out, and, well, this is looking more like a free A grant from the side of Trine.
To be fair, Marissa's got a nice bit of kills here, and what's really cool about her is she's finding all the kills that matter the absolute most. Let's see what Calamity can do over here. He's 21 and 10 for Trine Esports, double positive, absolutely menacing. But I like this position from Toxin. We know that Calamity is going to do some wild things and maybe try to sneak into the back line. We've seen him on the defensive rounds holding it down back there. We know he's not shy of this area of this map, and you see the 3 Trine Esports teammates going through the back line.
Exactly, and Toxin's going to be left alone here, and, well, the nice slide punch from the side of Noble. They're able to get through there and put their influence in the back line. Players are not going to spawn up towards that P1 field, and, well, Calamity's going to be able to take advantage, and Toxin, I don't get why he did not look towards the back tank, realizing he was the one who got taken out from there.
I mean, yeah, to be fair, it completely makes sense, but we're pretty much tied up on lives right now. It's that coveted B site that we need to catch. Trine Esports needs to maybe only have 2 good pushes left to get down there. How do you take down the defensive and make sure you can get those coveted B ticks? Because you know it's going to come down to that round 5. Who's going to get the defensive round there?
And this was a big problem from why Toledo lost A. They really were trying to fight for it so that they could guarantee it, but overall right now there has yet to be even 1 tick guaranteed on B. So Trine, they're still up. You know, Toledo may be winning this round, but they're still up, Trine, in terms of the tick counter, only by 1 at that. So this next attack for the side of Toledo, well, they're going to really need to either A, just take it right here and win 3-1, or B, just grab at least 2 ticks for that site.
Well, yeah, because this is essentially win condition for Toledo CoD right now. At this point, if they win this offensive round, they're going up 3-0 in the series. They will be in the playoffs, and Trine Esports is going home for the season. So Trine Esports is trying to start their reverse sweep at this point, but this is where it all begins, is this moment right here.
Yeah, this is the moment indeed, the win condition, like you mentioned. So we're going to see a fast push for this A. A bit of a split, though, as we see two players hanging out towards that mid. Unfortunately for Toxin, he will lose his life right off the bat. Now Moneylaw's going to be able to pinch onto Caraxium. You lose this A push, but Caddick, that was not a good chow indeed. Toxin going to be able to get a nice nade, and MZ still hanging out towards the top line. Toledo have a bit of a rough start, trip out the front gate. Now it's time to regain.
I mean, when you've got Calamity and Moneylaw just doing absolute work, Marissa understands the assignment right now. They know what they need to do. They're already 5 positive on the kill count right now with that 28 to 24. Toxin finally getting on the board here this round. No ticks of progress just yet. As I say that, they jump on to A with some nice uncontested time. But look at the player Noble going through the mid-map, gonna try and either find a kill or get flanked because you've got MZ working towards that mid-map as well.
Yeah, and you also have Caddick, who's working through the mid-map through the spawn right now for the side of Toledo. Calamity's going to be hanging out towards the site right now as they try to contest it, but unfortunately for Caddick, he does take out Moneylaw, but that immediately raises a red signal for the side of Trine Esports, and Calamity going to get shot from every angle possible. Caraxium going to be doing some big work within the church. The Pope has arrived. It's time to take your Bibles out and do some scripture reading because it's in session.
To be fair, they are now leading in terms of lives. They've got A site. They've got a minute 40 to go ahead and capture B, but you're going to get cut down when you try to get onto the B site. So this is where we saw the issue last time. Toledo was unable to cap B because Trine Esports is so different on the defensive round here. You got people like Calamity just working, but look at the setup you got. You got one in church, one holding back tanks. You got one back of B site, and then you've got Moneylaw going big.
Yeah, Moneylaw's position here, he's the first one to engage these enemies on the side of the plat, and he's already weakened them up a ton. So that just wastes the utility. So now Toledo can move in aggressively. That was actually beautiful to get him with a stun check. Toxin wins that one, so now you clear out the first player of engagement. Marissa's going to be hanging out towards the back, but Toxin once again clears out the back line, and here it is, Tiff. They need to grab 2 ticks.
You need to at least start grabbing ticks to jump off because you got reinforcements coming down south from church. Noble finds a nice 2-piece, one with a nade, just saying, hey, we don't want you here. Go home. But look who's last man standing. That's going to be Toxin, and they may... Oh, did they not get that tick? I do not believe they did. Nice answer back by Trine Esports.
Exactly. 50 seconds left, 14-11 in terms of the lives. Toledo are down by 3. This is a bit of a rough one because now no players are holding that deep back line. Although you will see 4 and 2, Noble and Marissa realize that, hey, there's an opening, and Caraxium realizes it too. Gets the 2-piece. Toledo now are going to be able to get onto the site, but you have 2 players hanging out towards the front. It's a bit of a sandwich here, and it's just risky if you take it.
I mean, you're gonna have to string together some massive 2 pieces, and plus here you're down in life counts, down by 2, 22 seconds left. You're gonna have to make sure, but Calamity says, hey, no, you're not getting there. 33 and 17 on a 4 streak, just doing something different.
We're doing something different indeed, and well, Caraxium going to be going to the back line again, but this time Marissa has accounted for it. 6 seconds left, 9-4, and well, no ticks are going to be given at all. So Toledo, unfortunately, will not be able to get that defense for round 5.
This is going to be really, really interesting because you're right. It is going to come down to that. Let's see what Moneylaw can do here in that final kill in church. Love when you're like, the Pope is here and you need to read your scriptures, bro. I was like, no way he's hitting them with that. But we are moving into the final round. It is going to be Toledo CoD on the offensive, just like you stated. You're going to have to be able to string it together because Trine Esports is trying to begin their reverse sweep, and they've already held down 1 round.
Yep, they've held out indeed, and that was possibly the closest that Toledo got to that attack win, but we're going to have to see if there's a bit of a difference in strategy, and oh, nicely done. Caraxium actually reads the mid play. They will be able to progress A for now, and well, you have a player that's just usurping the power position. That's Caddick, and so A will be granted here just shortly, and MZ is going to be holding the mid lane.
Well, let's talk about Caraxium right now on that 5 streak. If Caraxium can find streaks here eventually and hold onto their life, maybe grab a glide bomb or something of that nature, this could come into so clutch when trying to capture that B site.
Yup, indeed, and well, you get a good two-piece from the side of Noble.
Oh, he's gonna get cut down.
Yup, just absolutely decimates them, so this A site not guaranteed yet.
That was a good kill, though, because they really nuked the chance of Caraxium getting streaks right there, which would have been so much more prevalent in the ambition to try and cap that B. Now you've got two Toledo players going down to B site right now. One is going to lose that gunfight. Can Calamity keep the dream alive? He kills those two players on B, thus nuking the chance. Now, what are they going to do? They're tied up on lives. They have 2 ticks at A, no chance at B right now. I really love the thought they're trying to go early to cap some B, but now they're going to push up through mid-map and just really hunt some players.
They're hunting indeed. The hunt is on, and oh, Calamity turns around, gets the big kill onto MZ. This A site still being a big talking point for the side of Toledo. They're going to be hopping on, and there you go. They get the 2 down. All players are now going to rally themselves together. 17 to 15 in terms of the lives, a minute 35, and we attack towards B now.
This is where it always falls apart for the offensive team. And at this point, can Toledo CoD recreate something that they haven't had the ability to do just yet? You've got Kadak, who's down there, is going to fall to Noble. Anytime a player gets near B, Noble says, not today. So you're going to have to cut through the back line, which you see MZ doing right now as they find that first kill on Marissa. But guess who knows he's there? And that's going to be Calamity. So how do you cut through that back line, Susano?
The only way to really cut through that back line is you send an effort and push from the side of A. It's a bit of a long flank, but it will pay out if you do it right. But you do have Marissa, who's going to be watching that. So, you know, Calamity's still going strong, and Marissa's going to be watching the flank. And, well, like I said, you needed 2 people. So if MZ can pull off the hero play here, then we might see that attack win.
To be fair, I think at this point, they should worry less about capping B and more about exhausting the life count on Trine Esports. You have 30 seconds. You got to find 12 people, turn on the damage control, but you got to combat people like Calamity, who's 41 and 22. Trine Esports has a really solid defensive setup here, especially with Marissa in the back, but she's going to be cut down. So now you've got 2 Toledo CoD players looking to work through that back line. 14 seconds left. You got to jump on B now.
Yep, we've got to jump on it now. 10 seconds left. Money Law's going to be hanging out towards the top bunks here in radio. And, well, Calamity's going to get taken down by Toxin. That's massive. Noble still hops onto the side. And, well, you lose the shots. Noble wins the hero play. Kadok's going to go in. And, well, they do hold the contest for now. And you can see the shaky shots. The nervousness is in.
Yeah, this is the moment that you need to survive, MZ. Prove you're different, but Marissa's gonna get that kill, which is absolutely clutch. This is the second time that she has gotten such a coveted kill on that B site to prevent Toledo from taking home the dub. They were running out of lives, running out of time. Here's that kill from Marissa as she finds MZ in the back with that automaton. 30,772 damage for this match. Insane.
Absolutely. And, you know, we look at these stats right now from the side of Trine. They, you know, Tiff, they pulled up. They really did. That B push was possibly one of the biggest win condition moments of all time. They even got that tick, and look at the stats right now. You got to give a big shout out to none other than the man himself, Calamity. The 42 and 24 with 36 non-traded kills. The amount of absolute damage, 5.4K. He was holding down lanes like it was his job. He was clocking into that 9 to 5.
I mean, to be fair, completely was clocking in. When they were on the offensive, he was fragging out. When they were on the defensive, he was holding the back line like nobody's business. Between him and Marissa, it was absolutely crazy. We saw Marissa using that AR to really secure a lot of the defensive lines. So I think they did a fantastic job. You got 42 and 24, 36 non-traded kills, and 5,400 damage. But you look at the Toledo CoD players, most of them are north 4,000 damage, and you've even got Toxin who got 3,700 damage. But it doesn't matter because they didn't get the amount of defensive kills that they needed. They didn't get as many there, but the offensive, they fragged out. And it's so crazy that they were fragging out on the offense and still couldn't net that B.
Yeah, and that just speaks to how crazy this matchup was. You know, hey, Tim, I know you don't like statistics, and I know
here we go.
I know you want to. You're gonna check out right now from when I talk, but I'm just gonna say the stats were there. You know, we talked about how
the stats were there. You're 100% right.
This was the most competitive match that we had. 3-2, taking it into that overtime of round 5, and you know, I'm just, you know, as a marketing major, you know, I feel a boost of serotonin, if you will. when I get these type of play calls right. But, you know, overall, from the side of Trine, these guys really showed up. Toledo CoD, unfortunately, they were fighting for it. It was just a bit of a slippery objective where it was just grasping out of their hands.
I mean, they were definitely grasping, and I'm just so shocked. But shout out to Marissa, because you got those 2 final kills in those moments, and you really netted the dub for your team there. Like, between Calamity just absolutely fragging out and Marissa holding that back line, and then you had Noble, who was hugging that column with his dear life and his MP40, just absolutely being that first line of defense on the B site. They played that so well. Now, they're up 2-1 in the series. Toledo's currently with 2. They're on win condition as we move into a hard point. We're going to Berlin next, and I'm excited to see this, because let's go ahead and talk about that Bocage hard point that we saw in map 1. Toledo won 250 to 145.
Yeah, and that was a bit of a tough one indeed. You know, that Bocage 250 to 145. I think that was really just a pace setter, in all honesty, for what we were going to see in this series. There was a lot of slates coming back and forth. And, you know, when we got to the Berlin where it was 6-4, you know, we really saw what strengths, you know, Trine brought. They definitely had that spirit of tenacity to come back and try their hardest. And yeah, it was just a 2-round difference. And then especially in this Tuscan 3-2, it baffles me, Tiff, that such a small win condition as 1 tick can make all the difference.
It can definitely make all the difference. I'm not sure if we've got a little bird in our ear that can go ahead and pull up the maps. I want to go ahead and talk through those in specifics because of what's coming up, basically. Since Trine Esports is beginning that reverse sweep, let's go ahead and chat about it. We've got Berlin Hardpoint coming up next, and should it go the distance to Game 5, we're going to be returning to Bocage, where it all started with that search and destroy. And we already saw how close that Berlin search and destroy was. There's a very good chance that if Trine Esports takes this Berlin hardpoint, that it is going to come down to potentially around 11 in that search and destroy, where anything can happen, because I thought Trine Esports looked really good in the search and destroy despite not taking the dub.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be an interesting one indeed, because if we do see Trine Esports come back here in this Berlin, I think that sets the momentum, you know, and I like how you mentioned that there's a possibility of around 11, but I think if Trine are, you know, firing on all cylinders this map, I think we might see a 6-3, 6-4, same type of situation as last time.
Interesting. All right. So given what we've seen thus far, do you think Trine Esports is going to be able to make that reverse sweep?
I definitely think they're in the discussion. I do not know yet, because it was a very, very tough one. Like I said, it baffles me that the win condition was just 1 tick. But overall, you know, Tuscan is a very defensive-heavy map, especially on control. So this is really where we're going to find out if that discussion is a real talking point.
And as you were chatting about that, we saw a full team wipe from Toledo come in. They were able to get some uncontested time on the point. As you see, that kill feed is completely blue. They're able to maximize and soak up a little bit of time, but the rotation is starting to come in. As you can see, MZ and Toxin have already set up inside the mailroom and are trying to combat any Trine Esports players. Moneylaw and Marissa are going to take down 2 of them, though. They did get all the scrap time.
Got great acquisition of scrap, and Trine are going to be able to grab on the hill for now. Craxium, very nicely done, gets a 2-piece, cleans out the lane, and well, Cadix can now hop onto the side. He does not realize that there's a player above him, though. So Craxium, I think, is just playing a little bit more conservatively here, wants to play for those streaks, and well, Marissa's still in the back line. Toxin clears her out, and well, now you do not have to worry about grabbing scrap, because you can grab the majority here for Toledo.
You're going to make this a money hill with a nice break, as Trine Esports is trying to answer back. You got 29 seconds left on this hill, but Toledo just really soaking it up, goes up 20 in points. Now, granted, this is the first set of rotations, and it really doesn't matter too much, but when that kill feed is turning blue and you are preventing any onslaught of Trine Esports, you are making this a money hill. So what do you do when you're Trine Esports and you're spawning all down at the bottom of the map? You make that rotation over to hill 3, and you start trying to secure spawns, but Toxin's going to say no. Not gonna let that happen today. Trying to secure spawns in favor of Toledo, but you got 3 members of Trine Esports, and just because you've got spawns doesn't mean you're getting time.
Exactly, and talking about acquiring, Coraxium was able to acquire that glide bomb as well, so this is going to be a big problem as we head over to this next hill, but, still talking about this hill right now, a nice little chow from MZ. He stays up, but Calamity's going to be able to get the wall bang shots. Coraxium's still looking for these players, and they even get the nade on point. What a perfectly cooked nade that was. Toledo are able to hold on for now, but Calamity's going to get aggressive, move forward. They still hold the spawns, though, so Trine, it's a bit of an uphill battle for them.
It's an uphill battle indeed because you've got a lot of reinforcement coming in from Toledo CoD, but the same thing could be said from Trine Esports. They're spawning just south of the lobby right now, and the onslaught of players that is happening inside the point as MZ finds a nice two-piece. I think Toledo CoD's going to be able to pick up the rest of this, and that means 10 seconds of scrap time as Trine Esports has kind of given up. You've got Mobile in the back trying to secure spawns, but look who's coming around from Toledo CoD. You got players 2 and 4 going to make that chow and answer back, but they're not even going to go. They're coming off the hill early on, and Trine Esports getting some early time there in the train yard.
Indeed so, and Caddick's going to actually get shot down by Calamity. This opportunistic AR knows where he wants to place his AR, and he knows how to get these gun kills immediately. And right here, he's going to try and go for that close quarter, but unfortunately, he's going to get pinched out, and Noble actually didn't, fire right away, so that is a bit of a tough setup, a bit of oversight, if you will. Caddick sees the nade, runs towards it, absolute madman. And, well, you're going to have a bit of a problem now as Marissa and co will start spawning up close, but it's essentially like we had in that P3 of Bocage. It's the bird in the cage theory.
I mean, you've got a really nice setup if you're Toledo CoD here looking to maximize on this scrap time. Sure, Trine Esports is spawning there in the back, but can you get Toledo off of this hill? And it doesn't seem like you can. They're up 40 points just on the first set of rotations as we're looking to move into P5. So it's not even over just yet, but hey, they get cut down. Who's going to win the rotations? We know that Destroyed Halls is one of the hardest hills to be able to hold in this. I'm looking to the ARs in the backlines to be able to hold this down. No one just done it, but Coraxium jumps on.
Coraxium does indeed, but he will lose his life, and MZ unfortunately almost got into a situation where he bit too much so they could chew, but one player backs off, gives him a chance to breathe. Money's going to be able to look towards his general direction, and you hear that whistle in the sky. That's the glide bomb. Coraxium able to nail Noble. No reinforcements for the site, and MZ is even running that tertiary interference.
Yeah, but if you're going to get a lot of uncontested time, hop onto it. Maybe maximize and control that lead. You're up 50 points right now. Trine Esports is going to have to answer back. But when you've got Coraxium and you've got the kill feed bleeding blue, Coraxium's triple positive. So how do you combat someone like that? Caddick is living, getting all the hill time right now. Minute plus on the objective. Trine Esports, there's 5 seconds left. They're not going to contest for the scrap time. And as I say that, they get about a second. But now we're beginning that second set of rotations, and Toledo's already over there.
Indeed so, and Toxin's going to be that player in the site as we start the second set of rotations. Trine are unfortunately down 65 to 140. Toxin still going strong, is able to get some nice shots even onto Calamity. Caddick is able to fall in, gets the trade. Now you're getting aggressive in your own hill. It's a ballroom blitz, and even Coraxium is able to run the flank. So Toledo, great setup, great movement indeed. Unfortunately for them, Calamity did go crazy, did take out 2 players, but it's still enough to hold the hill down.
Hey, it's always a good day when we see Calamity go crazy. We saw what he can do with the sniper, and it's always good to see what he can do here in the second set of rotations. The break is coming in. We got 19 seconds left, and Caddick trying to go on a spree of his own before he gets cut down by Marissa. A lot of action happening in the mid fights right now. We've got a couple players from Toledo making that mid-map rotation all the way over to mailroom, going to get cut down by Trine Esports, but you're down 100 points in the second set of rotations. This is where you need to come back, because this is almost getting to a point where it's really scary.
This is very scary, and especially on a money hill like this one in the mailroom, this is not going to be a good one if you're just running around like Noble. You need to set up like Marissa here. You need someone to hold that back line, stop the reinforcements from getting in. Caddick's still going to be going strong, and, well, you have 40 seconds left in this one, and if you give Toledo this rest of this hill, that's going to be a dangerous position. Calamity, though, able to push into the site. Trine Esports desperately trying to fight their way into the narrative.
Into the narrative indeed, and Caraxium finding a nice kill right there. 25 seconds left on the hill right now, and Trine Esports hopping on, trying to get some time. But I mean, at this point, when it's 100 plus points a game, you gotta answer back and you gotta hold everything personally. You got Money Law living the best life in the mailroom, and everyone trying to go ahead and get that rotation over. Big three-piece right there by Toledo CoD as they completely nuke out any rotational aspects that Trine Esports is going to have. They will get this hill uncontested for just a smidge.
Contested for a bit indeed, and 187 and 97 right now in terms of the life count, in terms of the point count, and there's 49 seconds onto this new hill. This is plenty of time for trying and get back into the conversation, but unfortunately for them, they actually still don't have the spawns here, Tiff. They should have learned from the last time to go for the spawns, because right now they do have that southern spawn, but it's still not enough. You have Marissa though, who's getting aggressive, but you see that 3-stack spawn right there? That's a bit too much for her to chew there.
I mean, to be fair, not having spawns here is really detrimental. As you can see, they're spawning almost in rail yard, and you've got reinforcements from Toledo coming in like crazy, so you're not able to maximize your amount of time. Sure, you're jumping on, trying to get that scrap time, and yeah, Calamity finds a nice big win there to get 10 seconds of uncontested time, but you've got to go ahead and fight for that rail yard over there, and look who it is. Marissa is trying her best to anchor the spawns, but she's gonna get assassinated by Caraxium. Caraxium said, we are done with these LCQs. We want playoffs.
Oh my goodness, the disrespect right there. That's a bit of a tough one, but you know, it's very rough, Tiff, because you know you're fighting for the scrap on that old hill, and it takes a big slayer like Calamity. So that's just a bit of a tough one to think about in terms of the team chem, but right now we're just fighting for the scraps. You have the rotation, but unfortunately it's slipping through your hands. It's just slays back and forth, and Toledo are still holding on.
I mean, the fact is she was trying so hard to anchor the spawns and gets cut down. This is a win condition. They are not going to be able to win here on P4, but moving into the destroyed halls, Toledo is going to have the chance to really put this series to bed. Trine Esports have to play perfect Call of Duty from here on out.
Yeah, perfect Call of Duty indeed, and we're now going to be at a 25-point distance for the side of Toledo CoD to win this. Trine are going to grab that last 5 seconds, and we're now down to the destroyed hall, where it's going to be a bit of a tough time here on this P5, because it is generally known as the contest hill for Berlin. So back and forth we go. In the kills, Money Law's going to grab on, but there's just not enough time for the side of trying to get back into the conversation. Marissa wins that one, but taken out by a teammate, unfortunately.
Ooh, that teammate's gonna be really tough for you, but how do you answer back? You just need to keep Toledo off the point, and that uncontested time as they rotate towards the hill is incredibly challenging, but they are cutting it down. Marissa finds a nice 2-piece and moves into the hill. Calamity to answer back as well. This is what they need to do. They can still win here if you are Toledo, but trying doing everything they can to keep Toledo off the hill.
Exactly so, and it's 239 to 131. Toledo are now within position to throw themselves to that victory line, but there's not enough time because they need to get the rotation, and looks as though Calamity's going to lead the charge for his team. Caraxium, though, actually gets taken down by Noble. So Marissa's going to hang out towards the pillars as she usually does, but everybody will be able to get onto the hill for the side of Trine, and you know, everybody from Toledo at this point, they just need to slow down and realize that, hey, we're a 5-point distance. We can take this slow. We don't need to break neck with it.
Yeah, we are literally at like a 98-point game at this point, and Trine is finally starting to cut some back, but you got Toledo finding 3 kills right there, and this could be all they wrote, and it is. This is going in favor of Toledo in a 3-1 series here in the last chance qualifiers.
You know, last game was 105 difference of a game on Hardpoint on Bocage. But this time, it's a clear 100 flat. The respawn being a big conversation for the side of Toledo CoD. We look at the stats right now, and it was just a very tough time for the side of Trine. The biggest player that we can highlight here, Tiff, is going to be Calamity, 28 and 26. Unfortunately, Noble and Marissa had a bit of a slower game and had a lot harder when it came to the setups. You know, everybody from the side of Toledo were just reading the spawns and reading where these players were, and they got spawns. They did the homework to get them that point vantage.
Yeah, 100%. Then you look at the stats from Toledo CoD. You got MZ 31 and 20, 22 non-traded kills. We saw a lot of really important moments between MZ and Caraxium. And then to be fair, I mean, the assassination on Marissa was just salt in the wound at that point. She's just out there trying to work her best, trying to anchor those spawns, trying to hold the back lines. And to do that is just downright disrespectful. But that's so Call of Duty. And I love it. I love it. I really do, because I feel like that would have totally happened to me. Totally.
Yeah, and it just shows that, you know, Toledo CoD, they wanted it. They really did. They came in, they showed up, they clocked in, as if you will. Trine Esports, you know, you get sent home from the season now. You're not going to be able to hop into the playoffs, but the efforts and the time that you spent within the college CoD was admirable, and we applaud you for, you know, competing, showing up. It takes a lot to, you know, come here and really put yourself out there as a product, as a team, to really show yourself off. So, you know, we applaud that. You know, a little round of applause for them. But Toledo will continue forward into the playoffs, and they qualify themselves.
Yeah, so let's talk about that briefly before we go away, because you know the journey is never over during the last chance qualifiers. And something to be said, now that Toledo CoD has come out victorious here, they're going to be in the group with Arizona State in the Longhorns. So this is where the journey is only getting harder, and the playoffs are among us. And shout out to everyone at Trine Esports for competing here today. This is all they wrote for the current season, but you probably learned a lot. You've made it really far, and you had a valiant effort.
Yeah, valiant effort indeed. And so, you know, we will be going to a short break here to get ready for the next match. We've got Oklahoma Christian versus UTA Mavericks. So we'll be going for a short break. Don't you worry, me